It's week 4 video. It's Saturday, the 17th of July, and I feel the opposite of that. Thank God. Sometimes it's just hard when you don't have the gas you need in the tank to do the things you need to do. I guess it's just important to acknowledge that there's just ebb and flow, and it makes me really grateful for when I have the energy I need to show up to do the things that need to be done. This video is one of the things that I promised I would do every single week, and it's both for you and for me. It's for you because I want to show you what it looks like to close the gap from where you are to where you want to be. So, of course, my gap that I'm trying to close is how can I be the best motivational speaker in the world? I have some very specific metrics that I'm trying to hit, things that I'm measuring. I run on EOS, so I have a VTO, which is a vision traction organizer that I'm following. I have scorecards. I have lots of data. I didn't used to be really great at data. Now I'm obsessed with it because I realize how important it is to tell the story that I need to hear back. And our brain is not very helpful because it focuses on the negative. And more often than not, the data is actually better than what I'm feeling. So that's why it's important to track it, not to smash yourself into submission, but to notice that you're actually doing even more than you think you are. So in the very first week, I had talked about how I have this wheel of life that I use to measure how in balance am I. And I don't believe that perfect balance is achievable. But what I do every single week is I have certain areas and metrics that are tied to what does that balance look like. I'll start with the business. In the business, what the scorecard says is in terms of my proactive actions, I think this is really important. People can sit around and dream all day long, but if you aren't taking action, nothing's going to happen. So in my business, that's phone calls, that's conversations, and that's asking for help. That's asking for referrals. That's asking for who can you connect me with? How can you help me? And of course, I'm always helping others as well, which I want to talk about in just a second. But I made 18 proactive calls this week. I had 43 total actions. My goal is 45. So this is the third week in a row, because I only started tracking week 2. This is the third week in a row that I still haven't hit that. So I've got to get better at that, but still really good. I opened $167,000 in new opportunities. That's annualized this year, next year. I quoted $87,000 in business this week, and I closed $14,000 in business this week. So that's actual booked revenue. So that's still not actuals, right? But that's kind of pipeline. And then actuals will come once I start getting paid, which will be nice. And then time in my seats. So I track my time because I'm a solopreneur. I'm sitting in all of the seats. We talked about that, I think, in the second week here, which means that I've got to be really deliberate about the work that I'm doing in those seats. Because if I'm not, I will be tempted to do the things that I think are fun or interesting versus the things that need to be done. This past week, I spent more of my time in my visionary, I'm going to call it visionary integrator seat, because each week my integrator is at 0. And that's really because I don't have that complicated of a business. I'm visionary, I'm doing sales, I'm doing operations. So not trying to make it that complicated. So just sitting in my visionary integrator seat, I spent the most time at 17 and a half hours. Sales was the next highest. I spent 12.3 hours, which that shows in the data of what was open, quoted, and closed this week. And then I spent 7.8 hours in operations, then 6 hours in marketing. Now, going back to week 2, I spent 14 hours in marketing and 11 hours in operations. So it depends on what the needs are for the week, but I do have a plan every single week for what needs to be done. And I have set times on my calendar to work on those things. And I keep those meetings. When people are asking me for time on my calendar, they can't have it. I pretend as if I was scheduling with someone else outside of my organization because I wouldn't change that time. I do not like changing or canceling meetings. Sometimes it happens. Sometimes there's just You can't avoid it. But I keep those meetings with myself just as much as I would with someone externally to make sure that I stay on program, I guess is how you would say it. I guess I'll move into the feels because each week I want to cover the business data and then the feels. The feels are pretty incredible because the thing that I feel the most right now is complete gratitude. I cannot believe how much people are reaching out to help me do the work that I'm doing. It's been really, really amazing. And the reason I think those people are helping me in the way that they are is because I have helped so many other people as much as I possibly can for years. We're not talking like 3 years. We're talking like I think I became consciously aware of this principle of just making deposits in relationships without expectation of anything in return, just giving and giving strategically, not just giving to anyone, anywhere at any time. I would burn myself out if I did that. But there are certain people in certain areas of my life that I think it's a good use of my time to help them, to connect them, to teach them something, to help them grow. And I benefit from it too, because when I'm teaching things, I'm getting sharper as well. So it's strategic, but I'm always making deposits and have been since like 2016. That's 10 years of deposits in giving out into the universe. So whether the person directly that I gave something to sends something back is not my concern. What I do is I give in places that I think are the best places for me to give. And it's coming back to me now. And I am so grateful for that. And that's just also another reminder that I'm not starting at ground zero here. I'm starting with an incredible network of wonderful people who are interested in helping me. And I could not be more grateful. And I also, in the past, have not been good at asking for help. So this is the first time that I like, please help me. Please help connect me with speaking opportunities if you know of them. Please connect me with anybody that needs their next speaker. I'm your guy. And so people are doing that, and it's really amazing. So so that's the feels. Going on to the speaking front, the data. So I said I have 4 gigs booked. And sometimes, like when something new happens, I get excited. I think a lot of visionaries are that way. We're like, oh, I opened this, or this is something that I booked, or this is what I did, or we get really excited. And then there's what actually closes, and there's what actually we get paid on the actual. So I wanted to revisit my numbers. My goal this quarter is to book 10 gigs across 2026, 2027. So have 10 gigs booked. I have 4 opened. I opened 2 new ones to yesterday. I have 1 quoted, and I have 2 closed. That's since I started. That's since 4 weeks ago. So in order to get to 10 booked, I've got to fill up so much more in the front of that pipeline, which is why I make proactive calls and I ask for help. That's how I do that. All right. The feels on this. I feel like I am getting traction. I feel great about that data. What I don't feel great about is I am in the messy middle of what is my signature talk. And I learned this week the thing that you find interesting may not be the thing that other people find most interesting. And so there's 2 talks I'm A/B testing, and being in the messy middle of not having that pinned down entirely it's a little bit challenging. Now, the good news is I have a keynote that's coming up, and nothing sharpens that messaging like having an upcoming event on the calendar. So that's what I'm going to work on, will help me sharpen that. It's already there. It's not that I have nothing. It's just being in the messy middle, like what are the finest details of this and what's the exact story I want to tell here and there. So it's always like this. And something I say about speaking is a lot of people think that they want to be speakers, but out of the 100%, back to percentages, if there's 100% of work that has to be done in speaking, it's almost like 5% of it's actually being on stage, if that much. The rest of it is the process of booking, the process of negotiating, the process of writing, of refining, of learning, of growing. You have to love the process of speaking or you're not going to love it. And even though I'm in the messy middle, I actually do love it because I know where it's going to go. And I know that wrestling with it is just par for the course. It's just how this goes. So that's how I feel about the speaking. In my personal life, I just want to say I'm really proud of my kids. My two youngest kids are going through a speaker training right now with one of my coaches. His name is Joel Weldon, incredible speaking coach. It's just wonderful. And he and a young man by the name of Everett Aberley started a program for 11 to 19 year olds. So 11 to 19 year olds who want to become better speakers can sign up for this speaking program. And my kids are doing it. And it's just amazing. Their confidence, their self-confidence in their communication, it just in 2 weeks has skyrocketed. And so I'm just really proud of them for doing that. Also, my youngest has been going to a coding robotics club every afternoon. On my personal data, so my spirituality was at 100% this week and all the things I try to do. So every single week I go to at least 3 AA meetings. I read my Bible every day. I'm doing the Bible in a year. Always learning so much there. It's so fascinating. And then what's my other spiritual one? Oh my gosh, I only look at it every single day. Oh, pray. Pray. So those are the three things, and I hit those at 100%. And unfortunately, I need a scorecard because I won't always do it. It's just a whole day can go by and you don't do that. So those are the things I track there. My health, I nailed it 70% this week. This is back where the data helped me because I felt like I did nothing this week. I'm like, oh my gosh, Mary, you are totally off the wagon this week in terms of your health. And the truth is I got 4 workouts in. That's the truth. So I did better than I thought that I did, but it wasn't anything close to what I was hoping for. I will do better this coming week. My marriage, I put it 64%. It was a tough week this week. We have these ups and downs, and this was one of those more down weeks. And it's just us trying to reassess our home life with my husband going back to work and me being here. I'm grateful to my husband. We worked through that, but not every week's going to be 100%. So, and then finance at 100% in terms of how I wanted to spend my time there. Now, this is the sad one. My kids, 14%. 14%. Now, they got a lot more percentage the week before. So this is what I mean, like zoom out. It's going to be balanced, zoomed out. I miss my sons, my older boys so much. I reached out to both of them. I wish I could see them this weekend. They're both busy. That's okay. They're adults. They have their own lives. But it's just my cue to be like, gosh, I really do feel disconnected there. And I'm going to just take a quick action. So it's funny. Week 1, when I made this video, I said, I don't track the data like this and that. I do. It turns out that I do. And I'm doing it even more so because I'm reporting it in here to you. And when I make this video, I make it with the assumption that no one's going to watch it. That's why I'm in my workout clothes. That's why I don't have makeup on. Well, today I wore a little foundation because my eyes, I was looking a little tired under my eyes, but a little foundation. But other than that, I don't have makeup on. Like, I'm making this for myself. And then if there's one person that watches this and it's helpful, that's great. And that's the person that I'm tracking all of these things for and doing my best to teach along the way. So one of the things I wanted to say too, I have spent each week a decent amount of time in quadrant 2 work. So there's this thing called the Eisenhower time matrix, I believe is what it's called. I really hope I got that right. Where quadrant 1 are things that are important and urgent. So somebody's having a heart attack in front of you right now. Like that's going to be the thing that you do. Important and urgent, usually reactive and usually right now. There's quadrant 2 work, which is important but not urgent. It's not reactive work. It's proactive work. And in the proactive work, quadrant 2 work, it's stuff that's not pushing on you to do. It's stuff that you have to push out to do. And it's the most beneficial. So working out, reading books, learning things, sitting down and spending time planning each week, each day, sitting down, spending time learning from this past week or this past day, making sure that you're letting that get all the way in, spending time journaling. All of those things are quadrant 2 work. They will make the biggest impact, but no one's going to like be poking at you to do it. You have to do it yourself. Then there's quadrant 3, which is not important, but urgent. That's like usually somebody else's monkey that they're trying to throw on your back. And then quadrant 4 is not urgent and not important. And I was giving a talk one day here to a local restaurant, the managers of a local restaurant, my friend and former Vistage peer, his name is Tim Vasquez, and he owns some burros. It's a really great Mexican restaurant here. And I was speaking to his audience of managers, and I said, quadrant four work, not urgent, not important, is it's like Netflix and chill work. Like that's where that goes. So then I finished this talk that I gave, and then I'm driving home, and my son, who came along with me and was recording this talk that I gave, said, "Hey, mom, just so you know, I just think you should know. I don't think that Netflix and chill means what you think it means." So I had to reassess the context I was using it in. And I was like, I don't know, it could fit in quadrant four or it could fit in quadrant two. It's probably both. So I'll leave you with that. I hope you have an incredible week ahead. Spend some time in quadrant two planning, learning, tracking the data, working out, sharing with someone else what you learned. That's quadrant two work. And I'm getting a decent amount of that in every week. I hope you have a great week ahead. And if there is anyone watching this, to share with me what you're doing. And please, if you find this useful, helpful, like and subscribe. And what I mean by that is walk with me. Bye.